Imagine a country famous for its sparkling rivers, lush forests, and world-class engineering, suddenly on the brink of a water crisis. Now imagine the very technologies Germany is betting its future on. Solar panels, wind turbines, bioenergy could be the unlikely players both saving and threatening its most precious resource, water. Could Germany, Europe's economic powerhouse, be on the verge of a silent battle not for oil, but for water itself? This isn't a story from a far-flung, drought-stricken desert. It's happening right now, in the heart of Europe. As Germany's green revolution races toward a fossil-free future, an unexpected side effect is rippling through its water systems, a seismic shift that could redefine not just its energy strategy, but the fate of its industries, cities, and millions of citizens. Stay with us as we unpack the high-stakes intersection of energy and water in Europe's most influential nation. Because in this story, every drop counts. For decades, Germany has been the poster child of industrial might: coal, steel, chemicals, and more recently, cutting-edge engineering and renewables. But beneath the hum of turbines and the gleam of solar cells, another resource has always been quietly at work: water. Rivers like the Rhine and Elbe have carried goods, powered factories, cooled reactors, and nourished cities for generations. Yet, as climate change tightens its grip, the country's water balance is shifting. Recent summers have scorched the land with unprecedented dry spells, shrinking rivers to record lows and exposing once-submerged stones in storied waterways. Water, it turns out, might be Germany's Achilles heel. In 2023, Germany's government sounded the alarm, unveiling a sweeping national water strategy. The goal, to make sure every citizen, farmer, and factory can open the tap tomorrow and find clean water flowing. According to Steffi Lemke, Germany's federal minister for the environment, the national water strategy provides the basis for ensuring clean drinking water availability throughout Germany in the future. But why the urgency? To answer that, we need to dive into Germany's energy revolution, the so-called Energiewende, or energy turn. Since the 2010s, Germany has committed to phasing out coal and nuclear power, replacing them with wind, solar, and bioenergy. In 2024, renewables powered an astonishing 54.4% of its electricity, keeping 256 million tons of CO2 out of the atmosphere and earning Germany accolades as a climate action leader. At first glance, this transition promised a win-win: less air pollution, less carbon, and crucially, far less industrial water usage. Traditional thermal power plants, coal, nuclear, gas, are thirsty beasts, guzzling vast quantities of river water for cooling and then dumping it back, often several degrees hotter, with dramatic consequences for river ecosystems. Since the shutdown of its last nuclear reactors and the shuttering of coal plants, Germany's power sector has slashed its water withdrawals. Projections show that by 2050, Germany's power sector water demand could plummet by more than 80%. In some regions, river temperatures are dropping, fish populations are rebounding, and the environment is getting a long overdue breather. It sounds almost too good to be true. But here's where the story twists. The very success of Germany's green surge is creating new, uncharted territory, where the data runs thin and the risks are real. No one truly knows how much water the new renewables economy will ultimately consume. Unlike a coal plant, which has decades of detailed records, the water used to clean wind turbines and solar panels, irrigate biomass fields, cool geothermal systems, and, crucially, manufacture next-generation storage technologies is still a mystery. A recent report by the Federal Environment Agency, UBA, concluded, there is currently little reliable data on the water demand for the operation of renewable energy technologies, so it was not possible to determine how much water their operation requires. It also warned, the influence on the water balance of alternative forms of energy and storage must be examined. Take bioenergy, for example. Fields filled with energy crops, maize and rapeseed as far as the eye can see, need water, sometimes a lot of it. Projections show that by 2050, Germany's demand for biomass could outstrip its own land availability by a staggering factor of 3 to 6.5, putting pressure on domestic water supplies and potentially shifting water burdens overseas, where imports come from. Solar panels and wind turbines? They seem clean and dry, but they too need water for periodic cleaning, especially as dust and pollen reduce efficiency, and for their manufacturing processes. How often will cleaning be needed as panels age or as air pollution wafts over from continental neighbors? No one knows for sure. All of this is happening as climate change compresses Germany's freshwater supply. Longer dry spells, searing heat waves, and erratic rainfall are turning what was once a reliable, temperate climate into a climate of extremes. In the Berlin region, groundwater reserves are under such stress that local officials have proposed raising water prices to curb large industrial users. Meanwhile, 86% of Germany's total water consumption occurs outside its borders, embedded in imported goods, energy, and food. That means Germany's water footprint is truly global, tying the fate of its own rivers to the well-being of watersheds in Spain, Ukraine, Brazil, and beyond. Enter the National Water Strategy, adopted in March 2023. It lays out 78 specific actions to be achieved by 2030, everything from revamping urban water systems and building desalination plants to developing a real-time national information network for water levels, NIWS. Massive investments, over 2.2 billion euros, are already flowing into desalination and urban water reuse, especially in industrial hubs and drought-prone cities. But the price tag is steep, and it has set off fierce debate. Local governments worry about how the costs will be distributed. According to Helmut Kleebank, a member of parliament for the SPD, the National Water Strategy is an important first step in securing water as the basis of life for everyone in Germany. Yet the association representing German cities, municipalities, and counties warns, implementing the National Water Strategy will require significant costs, which must be distributed fairly across society. Some environmental groups go further. BUND, a leading German environmental organization, insists Germany must take responsibility for water protection both nationally and globally, given its significant water footprint. The dilemma is clear. Germany is trying to reconcile its green ambitions with economic reality. It needs to safeguard water for citizens and farms, feed heavy industry, support the world's fourth-largest economy, and maintain its leadership on climate, without bankrupting cities or exporting its water burden to vulnerable countries. So what happens next? In the coming years, Germany faces a trio of diverging paths. First, there's the threat of water stress and sectoral conflicts. As droughts intensify and hydro infrastructure ages, farmers, factories, cities, and utilities could clash over dwindling supplies. Imagine the sight: freight ships stranded on low rivers, factories forced to curtail output, and farmers watching crops wither in the fields. Second, there is the promise of technological innovation. If Germany can pioneer ultra-efficient water use, smarter grid management, and breakthrough recycling, perhaps even export these solutions globally, it could turn crisis into economic opportunity. The government's new water monitoring systems and interregional pipelines are a step in this direction, aiming to even out local shortages and keep both industries and consumers supplied. And third, there's this hope of successful strategy implementation. If the National Water Strategy delivers on its 78 promises, Germany could emerge as a model for balancing green growth with ecological resilience. But the challenges are daunting, from data gaps on water usage in renewables, to the costs and logistics of overhauling aging infrastructure, to public skepticism about who pays and who benefits. According to the Verband Deutscher Mineralbrunnen, VDM, a national situation report on water use and transparency in water withdrawals is necessary for effective water resource management in Germany. Without this clear data, the entire balancing act rests on uncertain ground. So, will Germany's energy transition truly bring lasting water security, or is the country sleepwalking into a new crisis, one where the green solution simply shifts the burden rather than erasing it? And as the world watches, could Germany's water gamble offer a blueprint for the coming global struggle over energy, industry, and the environment? In the next part, we'll dig even deeper into the data and ask, who really wins and loses in Germany's water revolution? Can high-tech solutions outpace climate-driven risks? And what lessons can the rest of the world learn from Germany's ambitious, sometimes fraught, experiment at the crossroads of green energy and water? Don't go anywhere. The answers could shape the future of not just Germany, but every nation wrestling with the urgent politics of water. But what happens next? As Germany stands at this crucial crossroads, the decisions made today will echo for generations. The future is anything but certain. Let's start with the most urgent scenario: mounting water stress. If climate change continues to intensify, with longer droughts, hotter summers, and erratic rainfall, Germany's natural water reserves may shrink even further. Farmers are already feeling the pressure, and larger cities could face tight restrictions. In Berlin's outskirts, Some local water authorities have warned that unless demand drops, higher prices and even rationing might follow. The chorus of concern is growing. Who gets priority when streams run low? Cities, industry, or nature? Another potential flashpoint lies in the unexpected, sectoral conflicts. Imagine a summer where energy demand peaks just as rivers fall to their seasonal lows. Power plants, especially those using biomass or geothermal energy, might suddenly find their access restricted, threatening supply stability. The Association of German Cities warns, to balance regional differences in water availability, we need major investments in interregional networks and pipelines. But even this infrastructure has limits. As the federal government's own data shows, almost 86% of Germany's water footprint is imported, embedded in food, energy, and goods. That means a drought in Spain or France isn't just someone else's problem. It boomerangs back to the German economy and society, affecting grocery prices and manufacturing. There's also a hidden risk. Incomplete data can blindside decision makers. Right now, no one can say with confidence exactly how much water Germany's wind and solar sectors need for cleaning, or how shifting to bioenergy might push up total withdrawals. As the Verben Deutscher Mineralbrunnen puts it, a national situation report on water use and transparency in water withdrawals is necessary for effective resource management. But the future isn't all doom and gloom. On the contrary, Germany's climate energy water puzzle has unleashed a wave of innovation. First, there's technology. The government's investments, over 2.2 billion euros so far, are turbocharging desalination plants and urban water reuse systems. In the far north, new pilot plants are turning brackish groundwater into fresh supplies. Cities like Hamburg are recapturing rainwater and recycling household wastewater for public parks, slashing demand on natural aquifers. Renewables themselves are driving creative solutions. Some solar parks are integrating vertical panels that shade crops underneath, reducing both land and water use. Others are deploying self-cleaning coatings to minimize the need for precious fresh water. And in the energy sector, digital monitoring platforms, like the growing National Low Water Level Information System, are providing real-time updates so operators can adjust their water use before a crisis hits. And then there's policy. Germany's national water strategy, finalized in 2023, is perhaps the boldest attempt yet to future-proof water security. It lays out 78 concrete measures, targeting everything from pollution control to building new water grids and requiring all industrial users to disclose their water withdrawals. Minister Steffi Lemke is resolute. The national water strategy provides the basis for ensuring clean drinking water availability throughout Germany in the future. Still, there are tough choices ahead. The implementation costs will be huge, potentially stretching public finances and provoking political arguments over who pays: households, companies, or taxpayers. The association representing German cities, municipalities, and counties warns, costs must be distributed fairly across society. And beyond the numbers, there are hard-to-quantify trade-offs. Germany's push for homegrown bioenergy sounds green, but studies show that if current trends continue, by 2050, the country would need 3 to 6 times its total arable land, an impossible ask. That means more imports, and with them, a growing reliance on global water resources already under stress. The best-case scenario? A Germany where innovation, policy, and public awareness combine to deliver real, lasting water security, built not on lucky rainfall, but on resilience. If the national water strategy succeeds, Germany could serve as a blueprint for other countries facing similar dilemmas. But the worst case? A divided nation, racing to build more pipelines and desalination plants, with skyrocketing food prices, energy bottlenecks, and growing public frustration. A place where green dreams stumble over the hard physical limits of land and water. For everyday Germans, and for viewers everywhere, the lessons are stark but empowering. First, water and energy are inseparable. An electric future isn't just about wind farms or solar panels on the skyline. Behind the scenes, every kilowatt hour connects to a cascade of water use decisions. Whether you're a policymaker, a business owner, or just a consumer, recognizing this invisible link can shift the conversation from conflict to solutions. Second, data matters more than ever. Only with complete, transparent reporting across sectors and borders can societies anticipate risks, allocate resources, and avoid nasty surprises. The push for a national situation report is a model worth following in every country. Third, every individual has a part to play. Small actions, like using water-efficient appliances, supporting local drought-resistant crops, or advocating for sustainable energy add up. Germany's story shows that change is possible, but only if everyone participates. As Helmut Kleebank of the SPD puts it, the national water strategy is an important first step in securing water as the basis of life for everyone in Germany. So, what does all this mean for the original question? Can Germany's energy transformation ensure water security, or are we on the brink of a new crisis? The honest answer? It's complicated. Germany's transition has already reduced water withdrawals and helped cool its rivers, big wins that shouldn't be underestimated. But the shift to renewables introduces new pressures and uncertainties, especially as climate change accelerates. The outcome will depend not on a single technology or law, but on a delicate balancing act between local and global priorities, technological optimism and environmental hard limits, short-term costs and long-term gains. Perhaps the real opportunity lies not in eliminating every risk, but in building a flexible, resilient system, one that learns from surprises and adapts to new realities. And here's a secret fact you might not have heard. Germany, despite being famous for its order and planning, still imports most of the water it uses, hidden in everyday items from coffee to clothing to fuel. The water story is global, and so are the solutions. So, if you found this journey through Germany's water energy revolution insightful, hit that like button and subscribe for more investigative stories that reveal the hidden links shaping our world. Who knows, maybe the next big breakthrough will come from your own city or community. Share your thoughts. What do you think is the most urgent water challenge in your country? Drop a comment below.